Chosen one, what if I told you that right now, this very second, God has just placed a message directly into your soul? A message so urgent, so alive, that if you ignore it, it could vanish like a shooting star. This is not a drill, beloved. Heaven is no longer whispering, it's roaring, and the sound of your name is echoing through corridors of eternity that have been silent for decades. You've been asking for a sign, praying for confirmation, wondering if God still sees you after everything you've walked through. Well, stop wondering. Because what's happening right now, you finding this message at this exact moment, this is your sign. Listen to me carefully. A portal just opened in the spiritual realm, and it has your name written in light. God didn't send this message to 1,000,000 people. He sent it to you, the one who's been carrying weight nobody else can see. The one who's been faithful in the dark. The one who's been wondering if your best days are behind you. They're not. In the next few seconds, your entire spiritual atmosphere could shift. But here's the thing about divine messages. They're like sacred notifications. If you don't open them now, they can disappear into the noise of this world forever. If you know this message is for you, if something in your spirit just stirred when I said your name, declare it now. Say out loud, I receive it, and drop a 770. 7-inch the comments. Don't think about it. Just do it. That number isn't random. It's heaven's confirmation code. I see you there, scrolling, searching, hoping. Maybe you're 50, 60, 70, feeling like life passed you by. Maybe you've lost people, lost dreams, lost yourself. But God didn't forget your address. He's been preparing something unprecedented for this season of your life. Something that will make the enemy regret ever thinking you were finished. You're not watching a video right now. You're stepping into a prophetic moment that was written before time began. This is your burning bush, your Damascus road, your divine interruption. To everyone who's supported this message through prayer, time, or seeding into this ministry, thank you. You're not just helping a channel grow. You're helping heaven reach someone sitting in the dark, wondering if they matter anymore. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I will show you why this message was written for your name, your life, and your breakthrough. I'll show you why heaven refused to let you scroll past this moment. If you turn away now, you'll miss the one thing God wrote for you alone. Now breathe. Stay close, because what you're about to hear has the power to rewrite everything. The message is live. The notification is blinking. Don't let it disappear. Can you feel it tonight? That restless stirring in your chest, like something's trying to break through. Are you lying awake at 3 a.m. again, staring at the ceiling, wondering if God even remembers your name anymore? Here's what I need you to understand, chosen one. You didn't find this message by accident. You didn't stumble across these words because YouTube's algorithm got lucky. God orchestrated this divine collision because time is running out on something heaven has been holding just for you. Look, I know what you're carrying, the weight pressing down on your shoulders at 2 o'clock in the morning when the house is quiet and the bills are stacked on the kitchen table. Medicare doesn't cover what's really breaking. Social Security can't fix what's really broken. And those prescription bottles lined up like soldiers on your nightstand, they numb the body, but they can't touch the ache in your soul. Your children moved away. Your grandkids barely call. The friends you thought would walk with you into these golden years, gone. Some to the grave, others to lives too busy for your phone calls. You sit in that same chair every evening, watching the news, watching the world spiral, feeling like you've been forgotten by the very generation you sacrificed everything to raise. But what if I told you that every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every moment you felt invisible was actually God positioning you for the most unprecedented move of your entire life? What if your isolation wasn't abandonment but preparation? Listen to me carefully. In Exodus 16, when the Israelites were starving in the wilderness, God sent manna from heaven. But here's the crucial detail most people miss: that manna had an expiration date. Every single day, they had to gather it fresh. If they waited until tomorrow, it would be gone. Rotted, wasted. Right now, heaven is raining down your manna, your divine message, your breakthrough bread. But just like those Israelites, you have a choice to make. Gather it now, or watch it disappear with the dawn. You've been praying for a sign, haven't you? Begging God to show you that He still has plans for these twilight years of your life. Well, stop begging, because the sign isn't coming tomorrow. It's here. It's now. It's in the fact that your fingers found this message when a million other videos were calling your name. The enemy has been whispering lies to you for months, maybe years. Your season is over. Your purpose expired with your youth. God's done using people your age. But the devil is a liar, and tonight his lies are being exposed. Moses was 80 when God called him to deliver a nation. Abraham was 100 when Isaac was born. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized Jesus in the temple. Your age isn't your expiration date, it's your credential. Every gray hair is a testimony. Every wrinkle is a badge of honor. Every slow step you take carries the weight of decades of faithfulness. But here's what's urgent about this moment. God's messages don't linger forever. They're not like emails sitting in your inbox waiting for you to get around to them. They're like lightning, brilliant, powerful, and gone in a flash if you don't catch them. How many divine opportunities have you already missed because you were too tired, too hurt, too convinced that God was done with you? How many burning bushes have you walked past because you thought Moses was just crazy? How many Red Sea moments have you avoided because you were afraid to take that first step onto dry ground? Don't scroll away. Don't tune this out. If you feel this stirring in your chest, stay right here. God is speaking directly to you. That flutter in your spirit isn't anxiety, it's anticipation. Heaven is about to move in your life in ways that will make your family stop, look, and remember why they should never underestimate the prayers of a faithful saint. You see, the enemy thought he had you cornered, isolated, forgotten, finished. He counted on you fading quietly into the background, accepting that your best days were behind you. But what he didn't calculate was this: God saves his finest wine for last. And you, dear one, are about to become the miracle that shocks everyone who thought you were done. The children who stopped calling are about to need the wisdom only you can give. The bills that seem impossible are about to bow to the God who owns cattle on 1,000 hills. The body that feels tired is about to be strengthened by the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. But you have to gather your manna now. You have to open this message while it's still fresh from heaven's bakery. Because tomorrow's newspaper won't have yesterday's forecast, and tomorrow's mercy won't carry today's assignment. I can feel it stirring in the spiritual realm, even as I speak these words. Angels are moving. Prayers that have been on heaven's desk for decades are about to be marked urgent delivery. Doors that have been rusted shut are beginning to creak open. And before this hour ends, I'm going to reveal how this very message could unlock your Red Sea moment, the miracle that will part the waters of impossibility and lead you into a promised land you thought was reserved for younger generations. But first, you have to make a choice. Will you gather your manna, or will you let it rot in tomorrow's regret? You know what stops most people from hearing God? They're waiting for Him to show up politely. Knock gently. Ask permission. But that's not how the Almighty operates, chosen one. When God has something urgent to say, He doesn't whisper, He roars. Moses wasn't expecting anything supernatural that day. Just another ordinary Tuesday in the wilderness, tending sheep like he'd done for 40 years. 40 years of feeling forgotten. 40 years of wondering if his life mattered. 40 years of believing his best days were buried in the Egyptian sand behind him. Sound familiar? Then it happened. Exodus chapter 3 verse 2. The angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. But here's what will blow your mind. The bush was burning, but it wasn't consumed. It wasn't destroyed. It was alive with divine fire. That's your life right now. You've been through the flames, loss, betrayal, disappointment, years that felt wasted. But look at you. You're still here. You're not consumed. You're burning with something that can't be extinguished. God didn't choose Moses because he was qualified. He chose him because he was available. He chose him because he'd been broken enough to listen. He chose him because 40 years of wilderness had prepared him for 40 years of miracles. How old was Moses when God called him from that burning bush? 80 years old. EIGITI. The world would have written him off. Retirement age, past his prime. But God was just getting started. You think you're too old, too tired, too beaten down. Listen to me carefully. God specializes in using people the world has discarded. He takes the overlooked, the underestimated, the written off, and he turns them into history makers. This message you're hearing right now, this is your burning bush. It doesn't burn you, it awakens you. It doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. Every word hitting your spirit is God saying, I see you, I know you, and I'm not done with you. But here's where it gets intense. Moses almost walked away. Verse 3 says he turned aside to see this great sight. He had a choice: keep walking with the sheep or investigate the impossible. Most people keep walking. They see the miraculous and choose the mundane. Don't be most people. You've been asking God for years, where are you? Why does it feel like you've forgotten me? And all this time, he's been preparing a burning bush moment, a divine interruption so undeniable, so personal, that it would shatter every doubt you've carried. God doesn't whisper in comfort, he roars in the storm. He doesn't show up in your organized moments. He breaks through in your broken moments. When you're at the end of your rope, that's where his rope begins. The enemy has been telling you lies for decades. You missed your chance. Your season is over. God used you up and moved on. Lies. All lies. The devil is a liar, and he's been lying to you about your expiration date. Moses thought he was finished. David thought he was forgotten in the fields. Abraham thought he was too old for promises. Sarah thought her womb was dead. But God specializes in resurrection. He takes what looks dead and breathes eternity into it. You want to know why this message found you today? Because heaven has been tracking you. Every prayer you whispered in the dark, every tear you cried when nobody was watching, every moment you wondered if you still mattered, God logged it all. And today, he's responding. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is divine appointment. You didn't stumble onto this video. You were led here, guided here, called here. The burning bush wasn't about the bush, it was about the one speaking from it. And right now, through these words, through this moment, the same God who called Moses is calling you, not to perfection, but to purpose. Not to have it all figured out, but to trust him with what you don't understand. When God called Moses, he said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people. I have heard them crying. I am concerned about their suffering. God sees your misery. He hears your crying. He's concerned about your suffering, and he's about to do something about it. But you've got to stop walking past your burning bush. You've got to turn aside. You've got to remove the shoes of your old thinking and stand on the holy ground of this moment. Moses argued with God. I can't speak well. I'm not qualified. Send someone else. But God didn't need Moses' eloquence. He needed his obedience. He doesn't need your perfection. He needs your willingness. If you're hearing this, if something in your spirit is stirring right now, comment, "This is my burning bush." Don't think about it. Don't analyze it. Just declare it. Because the moment you acknowledge God's voice, everything changes. The fire that's been burning in your chest as you listen to these words, that's not emotion. That's confirmation. That's heaven saying, "Yes, this is for you. Yes, your time is now. Yes, I still have plans for you." Your burning bush isn't going to wait forever. Divine moments have expiration dates. Moses could have kept walking. He could have ignored the impossible. He could have chosen normal over supernatural. What are you going to choose? Because what God reveals in your burning bush moment will determine the next chapter of your life. And trust me, chosen one, you haven't read the best chapter yet. Listen to me, chosen one. Do you hear that sound? That's not your heartbeat. That's heaven's countdown clock, and it's been ticking your entire life. Every second you've doubted, every moment you've felt forgotten, every night you've wondered if God still has plans for you, the clock kept ticking. And right now, at this very moment, it's about to strike your hour. You feel it, don't you? That restless stirring in your spirit, that voice whispering, "There's got to be more than this." You're not imagining it. That's not desperation talking, that's destiny knocking. For such a time as this, those 5 words changed history when they were spoken to Queen Esther, a young woman who felt unqualified, unprepared, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what God was asking. Sound familiar? She thought she was too young. You think you're too old. She thought she wasn't enough. You think your best years are behind you. You're both wrong. God doesn't operate on human timelines. While you've been counting your losses, He's been counting your victories. While you've been measuring your age, He's been measuring your faith. While you've been looking at what's gone, He's been preparing what's coming. But here's what's breaking my heart too. Many of you are treating this message like it's optional, like it's just another video you can bookmark for later, like God's timing waits for your convenience. It doesn't. That message burning in your chest right now, it has an expiration date. Not because God withdraws His love, but because windows of opportunity don't stay open forever. Ask Moses what happened when he delayed at the burning bush. Ask Jonah about running from divine assignments. Ask the rich young ruler about walking away from Jesus. Time doesn't pause for fear. Destiny doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. And God's message to you, this urgent, life-altering word, it's not going to sit in your spiritual inbox forever. You want to know why you're here right now? Why this message found you at this exact moment in your life? Because God looked at your calendar and said, now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when they feel ready. Now. Every gray hair on your head is a crown of wisdom. Every line on your face is a map of battles you've survived. Every scar on your heart is proof that you're still breathing, still believing, still standing. You think you're too late. God says, you're right on time. Esther could have said, send someone else. I'm too young. I'm not qualified. What if I fail? Instead, she said 5 words that changed everything. If I perish, I perish. She chose to act despite her fear. What are you going to choose? Right now, as I'm speaking these words, there's a collision happening in the spiritual realm. God's perfect timing is crashing into your prepared heart. The prayers you prayed decades ago are being answered in ways you never expected. The dreams you buried under disappointment are being resurrected with divine breath. But you have to receive it. You have to say yes. You have to stop hiding behind "I'm too old" and start declaring God's not finished with me. Do you realize what's at stake here? This isn't just about your personal breakthrough. There are people in your family, in your community, in your sphere of influence who are waiting for you to step into this message. They need to see what God does with someone who says yes in their season of supposed decline. Your children need to see that surrendering to God doesn't mean surrendering to limitation. Your grandchildren need to witness what happens when heaven backs someone who refuses to give up. Your neighbors need to know that God specializes in impossible comebacks. You think you missed your moment? God's about to show you that your greatest moment is now. You think your influence is shrinking? God's about to expand your territory in ways that will shock you. You think your story is ending? God's about to write chapters you never dreamed possible. But the clock is ticking. Every moment you hesitate is a moment that message in your spirit grows dimmer. Every second you delay is time you'll never get back. Every hour you spend in doubt is an hour stolen from your destiny. The Israelites wandered 40 years in a wilderness journey that should have taken 11 days. Why? Because they couldn't discern their moment. They couldn't recognize their time. They let fear override faith and turned a brief transition into a lifelong tragedy. Don't be them. The time is now. The message is yours. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect circumstances. Don't wait for someone else to validate what God is speaking directly to your heart. Esther stepped forward and saved a nation. Moses spoke to Pharaoh and freed a people. David faced Goliath and changed history. What they all had in common wasn't perfect timing, it was obedient timing. Your Goliath isn't a giant, it's the voice telling you it's too late. Your Egypt isn't a place, it's the mindset that says God's finished with you. Your Haman isn't a person, it's the spirit of delay that wants to rob you of your Kairos moment. This is your Kairos. This is your for such a time as this. This is your divine interruption disguised as a YouTube video at 2 a.m. when you couldn't sleep because something in your spirit wouldn't let you rest. If you know God's timing is colliding with your life, type 777 right now. Let heaven see your faith. Let the enemy see your decision. Let yourself see that you're still capable of radical obedience, because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will either confirm what you already know in your spirit, or it will shatter every limitation you've placed on what God can do through someone your age, in your season, with your story. The countdown ends here. Your breakthrough begins now. Chosen one, I need you to hear something that's going to shake you to your core. Every single year you think you wasted every mistake that haunts you at 3 a.m., every moment you believed you were too old, too broken, too far gone. God has been weaving it into a masterpiece you couldn't see. You know that crushing weight you carry, that voice that whispers, "You missed your chance." That's not conviction, beloved. That's the enemy's greatest lie. Because what you're about to discover will flip your entire story upside down. Let me take you to a dusty road outside Damascus 2,000 years ago. There's a man named Saul breathing threats and murder against God's people. He's got blood on his hands, hate in his heart, and thinks he's doing God's work by destroying lives. Sound familiar? Maybe you've been your own worst enemy too. But then lightning splits the sky. A voice thunders from heaven, and in one blinding moment, everything Saul thought he knew about himself, about God, about his purpose, gets completely rewritten. His name changes to Paul. His story transforms from destroyer to builder. His destiny shifts from death dealer to life giver. That wasn't coincidence, chosen one. That was God's specialty, taking the most unlikely, the most broken, the most too far gone, and turning them into world changers. Here's what's ripping my heart apart right now. Some of you are sitting there thinking, but I'm 65, I'm 70, my kids are grown, my career is over. What could God possibly want with me now? And that question, that very question is breaking heaven's heart. Because while you've been counting yourself out, God has been counting on you. While you've been looking at your age as a limitation, He's been seeing it as your qualification. The wisdom you've earned through heartbreak, that's not damage, that's equipment. The scars you carry from betrayal, those aren't wounds, they're credentials. You think Moses was young when God called him to lead Israel out of Egypt? 80 years old. Abraham was 75 when God promised him nations would come from his bloodline. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." These weren't accidents, these were appointments. Your Damascus Road moment isn't behind you. It's right here, right now, in this very second as these words hit your spirit. God is speaking the same thing over you that He spoke over Paul. You are my chosen vessel. But here's where it gets personal. I know some of you are wrestling with regret so deep it feels like it's carved into your bones. You're replaying decades of what-ifs. What if I had prayed more? What if I had been a better parent? What if I hadn't made that choice that cost me everything? Stop. Right there. Full stop. Your past isn't punishment, it was preparation. Every valley you walked through was building your capacity to carry others out of theirs. Every night you cried yourself to sleep was God depositing compassion into your soul. Every time you got back up when life knocked you down was heaven taking notes on your resilience. The enemy wanted to use your pain to disqualify you, but God is about to use it to anoint you. Listen to me very carefully. The chapter of pain you've been living in, the one that feels like it's defining your story, that's not the end. That's not even the middle. That's the plot twist. The setup for the greatest comeback heaven has ever orchestrated through someone your age, with your experience, with your scars turned into stars. Paul didn't become the greatest evangelist despite his past. He became it because of his past. His testimony wasn't weakened by his failures, it was powered by them. Every person he'd persecuted became a reason people trusted his transformation was real. Your transformation story is just as powerful. The pain you survived, the marriage you fought for, the children you raised through impossible circumstances, the career setbacks you weathered, the health scares you conquered, all of it was God building your platform for this moment. Right now, there's someone half your age who needs to hear how you made it through what they're facing. There's a broken heart that needs the wisdom only your scars can provide. There's a family falling apart that needs the glue only your tested faith can offer. You're not too old. You're finally ready. The message God just downloaded into your spirit, it's not about retirement. It's about redeployment. It's not about slowing down. It's about shifting into overdrive for the most important assignment of your life. Your Damascus moment is happening right now. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest, that quickening in your pulse. That's not nostalgia, that's activation. God is rewriting your name from forgotten to forerunner, from past your prime to perfectly positioned, from too late to right on time. The years you thought you lost are about to become the foundation for the legacy you're about to build. If this is hitting your spirit like lightning hitting a rod, if something just shifted in your atmosphere, hit that subscribe button right now and join thousands of chosen ones walking this very path. Because what's coming next will show you exactly how to step into this new chapter God is opening. But I need to warn you about something crucial that could derail everything we just unlocked. Chosen one, we need to talk about something that could change everything. The cost of ignoring God's message isn't just missing an opportunity, it's missing your destiny itself. You know the story of Jonah. God spoke, clear as day, go to Nineveh. But what did Jonah do? He ran. He bought a ticket in the opposite direction, thinking he could outrun the Almighty, thinking he knew better than the God who hung the stars. Here's what happened next. The storm came. Not just any storm, a supernatural tempest that threatened to tear that ship apart plank by plank. The sailors threw cargo overboard, prayed to their gods, but nothing worked. Why? Because when you run from God's message, you don't just endanger yourself, you endanger everyone around you. Think about that for a moment. How many storms in your life could have been avoided if you'd said yes the first time God whispered? How many relationships could have been saved? How many doors could have stayed open? How many blessings have you delayed by pushing aside God's nudges? I'm talking to you right now, the one who's been feeling that pull in your spirit for months, maybe years. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That thing God keeps bringing up. That dream He keeps resurrecting. That person He keeps putting on your heart to forgive. That step of faith He keeps asking you to take. You've been running. Not on a ship to Tarshish, but on Netflix, on social media, on busyness, on excuses, on I'm not ready yet, on maybe next year, on let me think about it. But listen carefully. Ignoring God's message is like ignoring a lifeboat in a storm. You're drowning, and heaven is throwing you a rope, but you're too proud, too scared, too comfortable in your sinking ship to grab it. Let me ask you something that might sting. How many years have you been saying someday? How many divine appointments have you missed because you were scrolling instead of praying? How many miracles have passed you by because you were too busy explaining why God's timing was wrong? Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of a whale because he thought he could negotiate with destiny. 3 days in darkness, in digestive acid, surrounded by the stench of his own rebellion. And you know what? That whale wasn't his punishment, it was his rescue. God could have let him drown, but instead, He provided a submarine. Your setbacks aren't God's rejection, they're His redirection. Your delays aren't His denial, they're His mercy, giving you another chance to say yes. But here's the terrifying truth. God's patience has a season. His messages don't linger forever like voicemails you can delete later. They're written in divine timing, and when that window closes, it doesn't reopen the same way. Remember the 10 virgins waiting for the bridegroom. 5 were ready, 5 weren't. When the door shut, it stayed shut. I never knew you, were the words that echoed in the darkness. Not because they weren't invited, but because they weren't prepared when the invitation came. That's what I'm afraid of for you, beloved. Not that God will stop loving you, but that you'll miss the specific moment He's orchestrated for your breakthrough. The job opportunity, the relationship, the healing, the ministry, the business idea, the chance to reconcile. Right now, as I'm speaking these words, there's someone listening who's been running from a call to ministry. You've been making excuses for 5 years. I'm not qualified. I don't have a degree. People won't listen to me. But God's been preparing you in the wilderness, and your season is now. There's someone else who's been postponing forgiveness. You've been nursing that hurt like a pet, feeding it daily with memories and what-ifs. But God's trying to free you from the prison you've built around your own heart. And there's someone who's been delaying obedience because you're afraid of what people will think. You're more concerned about your reputation than your relationship with the one who gave you breath. Stop it. Just stop. Jonah finally prayed from the belly of that whale. When my life was fainting away, I remembered the Lord. Don't wait until you're in the belly of consequences to remember who's been calling you. The cost of ignoring God's message is measured in more than just missed opportunities. It's measured in sleepless nights, regret that tastes like copper in your mouth, watching others walk in the blessing that should have been yours, living below your spiritual pay grade while heaven holds a promotion with your name on it. But here's the beautiful part of Jonah's story. When he finally surrendered, when he finally said yes to God's original plan, the whale vomited him up right where he needed to be. Not back where he started, but positioned for purpose. Your rebellion doesn't disqualify you. Your obedience activates you. God's message to you today isn't complicated. It's not buried in theology or hidden in ancient Hebrew. It's burning in your chest right now. You know exactly what he's asking. You've known for months. Don't run. Don't delay. The cost of ignoring is too high, but the reward of obedience is immeasurable. Say it now. No more delays. Comment it. Claim it. Let heaven hear your yes echo through eternity. Because on the other side of your obedience is a Nineveh waiting to be saved, and you're the only one with the message that can save it. The question is no longer what God is asking you to do. The question is, will you finally do it? Chosen one, we've reached the moment where heaven stops talking and starts moving, where your faith collides with God's power and creates what the world calls impossible. This is your Red Sea moment, and I need you to understand something crucial. What's standing in front of you isn't a wall. It's a doorway disguised as an obstacle. The Israelites stood at the edge of the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army thundering behind them. 600 chariots, thousands of soldiers, death breathing down their necks. And in front of them, nothing but water stretching to the horizon. They looked at Moses and said, "Why did you bring us here to die?" Sound familiar? How many times have you stood at your own Red Sea? That diagnosis the doctors couldn't explain away. That financial crisis that seemed to come from nowhere. That betrayal that left you wondering if God had forgotten your address. That season when everyone you trusted walked away, and you found yourself staring at circumstances that felt bigger than your faith. Here's what the enemy never wants you to realize. He didn't bring you to the Red Sea to destroy you. God led you there to reveal something about himself that you could never see in the easy seasons. The impossible situations aren't roadblocks. They're revelation points. Moses lifted his staff over that sea, and God didn't just make a path. He made a statement. Exodus 14:21 says, "The Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry ground." The same God who spoke galaxies into existence looked at that water and said, "Move." But here's the part that will shake you to your core. God didn't part the sea until Moses stretched out his hand. Divine power was waiting on human obedience. Breakthrough was held hostage by one man's willingness to act on a word from heaven. You want to know why your breakthrough has been delayed? Because God is waiting for you to stretch out your hand. He's waiting for you to stop analyzing the impossibility and start acting on his word. That message he just downloaded into your spirit isn't for your entertainment. It's your instruction manual for walking through parted waters. The Red Sea wasn't just about escape. It was about identity. Those Hebrew slaves walked into that water as victims and came out as victors. They entered as the oppressed and emerged as the chosen. The same water that terrified them became the canvas for God's greatest masterpiece. What's your Red Sea? That addiction that's held you captive for decades. That broken relationship you thought could never be restored. That dream you buried because people said you were too old, too broken, too far gone. Listen to me carefully. God didn't bring you this far to abandon you at the breakthrough point. The Israelites had to take the first step. Imagine that moment. The water hasn't moved yet. Moses is standing there with his hand stretched out, looking like a fool to anyone watching. But then came the sound, the rumbling, the shifting, the impossible becoming inevitable. The sea began to retreat. Scripture says, it took all night for the water to part completely. All night. Think about that. It wasn't instant. It was a process. Step by step, the impossible revealed itself as God's plan all along. Some of you have been waiting for your breakthrough to be microwave quick. But God's greatest miracles often come with divine timing, not human urgency. He's been preparing your Red Sea moment through every trial, every test, every tear. This isn't just about your deliverance, it's about your destination. The other side of your Red Sea isn't just freedom, it's purpose. The Israelites didn't just escape Pharaoh, they walked toward the promised land. Your breakthrough isn't just about getting out of where you've been, it's about stepping into where you're going. But here's the warning that will save your life. Once the water parts, you have to keep walking. The Israelites couldn't camp in the middle of the sea. They had to cross to the other side. Your breakthrough requires movement, not just faith. That divine message burning in your spirit right now, it's not a suggestion, it's your marching orders. God is saying, the water is about to move, but you have to be ready to walk. The enemy wants you to focus on the walls of water on both sides. He wants you to calculate the odds, measure the distance, question the timing. But God is saying, don't look at the water. Look at the path I'm making. Exodus 14:22 says, the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. Dry ground. In the middle of the sea. That's not natural, that's supernatural. That's what happens when God makes a way where there seems to be no way. Your Red Sea is opening right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. The same power that split those waters is moving in your circumstances. The breakthrough you've been praying for isn't coming, it's here. But you have to step into it. You have to stop talking about it and start walking through it. You have to stop analyzing the miracle and start experiencing it. The water won't stay parted forever. Pharaoh's army is still coming. This is your moment. This is your hour. This is the breakthrough that heaven has been preparing since before you were born. Step into it. Don't just hear the message, walk through the parted waters. Your Red Sea moment isn't a test of your circumstances. It's a revelation of God's power through your obedience. The sea is opening. The path is clear. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side. If you're ready to walk through your Red Sea, if you're done staring at impossible circumstances and ready to step into God's supernatural provision, declare it right now in the comments. The sea is opening for me. But once you step into those parted waters, there's no going back to Egypt. Are you ready for that level of breakthrough? Chosen one, I need you to close your eyes for just a moment. Picture this with me. Right now, in the throne room of heaven, there's a scroll being unrolled. Golden letters are appearing on ancient parchment, and at the top, written in handwriting that predates creation itself, is your name. Not John's name, not Mary's name, your name. This is not a mass email from heaven, beloved. This is not a general announcement sent to millions. This is a personal letter from the God of the universe, sealed with his blood, delivered by his Spirit, addressed specifically to the one sitting right there where you are. You see, for 50, 60, 70 years, however long you've been walking this earth, God has been writing your story. Every tear you've cried, he collected. Every prayer you whispered in the dark, he recorded. Every time you wondered if he still cared, he was penning another line of your redemption story. And today, this very hour, heaven is declaring, the message is complete. It's time to deliver it. But here's what's going to shock you. You're not just receiving this message, you are becoming the message. Think about Moses. God didn't just give him words for Pharaoh. Moses became the word. His life, his staff, his very presence spoke louder than his voice. When Pharaoh looked at Moses, he wasn't just seeing a man, he was seeing the message of God's power wrapped in human flesh. That's what's happening to you right now. Every battle you've survived, every betrayal you've overcome, every season where you felt forgotten, God was preparing you to become a living testimony. You're not just getting healed so you can feel better. You're getting restored so you can become a restoration for someone else. Listen to me carefully. In John 1:14, Scripture says, "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us." Jesus didn't just bring God's message, he was God's message. And now, in this season of your life, God is saying the same thing about you. You are becoming his word made flesh in your neighborhood, in your family, in your generation. That person at the grocery store who always looks defeated, God is positioning you to be his message of hope to them. that adult child of yours who's lost their way. You're not just praying for them anymore, you're becoming the answer to your own prayers. Your grandson who thinks God doesn't exist. Your light is going to shatter his darkness. But I need to tell you something that might disturb you. The enemy has been fighting so hard against your life precisely because he knows what you're becoming. He's seen the scroll with your name on it. He's read the fine print of your calling. And he's terrified. That's why the attacks were so personal. That's why the losses hit so deep. That's why you felt so isolated. Because demons don't waste ammunition on empty buildings. They only attack what poses a threat. And you, beloved, you are about to become their worst nightmare. You know what Ephesians 2:10 says? We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Those good works? They weren't just prepared yesterday. They were prepared before time began, and they have your name written all over them. That ministry you've been afraid to start, it's time. That conversation you've been avoiding, it's time. That step of faith that seems impossible, it's time. Because God didn't preserve you through all those storms just so you could retire into obscurity. He preserved you because your finest hour isn't behind you, it's in front of you. But here's the part that's going to change everything. This message, this divine download you're receiving right now, it's not meant to stay with you. It's meant to flow through you. Romans 10:14 asks, how can they believe in him of whom they have not heard? There are people in your sphere of influence who will never hear God's voice clearly until they hear it through your life. Your neighbor who lost her husband, your friend battling cancer, that young couple struggling with their marriage. They're not going to be reached by a perfect pastor or a polished preacher. They're going to be reached by you, someone who's walked through hell and came out carrying heaven's message. You are God's secret weapon for this generation. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Before this video ends, I want you to think of one person, just one, who needs to see what God is doing in your life. Someone walking through darkness who needs to see your light. Someone who's given up on miracles who needs to witness yours. Share this message with them, not because you're being religious, but because you're being obedient. Not because you want to preach, but because you want to plant. You're not just spreading a video, you're spreading hope wrapped in your testimony. Your message doesn't have to be perfect. Your delivery doesn't have to be polished. Because when God's message flows through a surrendered vessel, even broken words become breakthrough moments for someone else. The scroll is unrolled. Your name is written. The message is clear. You are chosen. You are called. You are becoming the very word of God to your generation. So what are you going to do with this message? Will you let it end here, or will you let it begin through you? Conclusion. Your divine destiny awaits. Chosen one, we've walked together through this sacred hour, and I want you to remember 3 unchanging truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, this message wasn't random. God didn't accidentally let you find this video at 2 a.m. or during your lunch break. Divine appointments don't happen by chance, they happen by design. You were meant to hear these words at this exact moment in your journey. Second, the scroll with your name written in heaven's golden letters isn't going anywhere. It's not a limited time offer, it's an eternal covenant. God's calling on your life doesn't have an expiration date, and neither does his love for you. Third, you are not just a recipient of God's message, you are becoming his message to a world that desperately needs to see his glory wrapped in human skin. But I need you to hear something that might surprise you. You are not alone in this. I know it feels like it sometimes. I know there are nights when you lie awake wondering if anyone truly understands the weight you carry, the dreams deferred, the prayers that seem to echo in empty space. But there's an invisible cloud of witnesses surrounding you right now. Saints who've walked this path before you, angels assigned to your protection, and yes, a community of believers, many watching this very message who understand your journey because they're walking a similar road. In the comments below, you'll find brothers and sisters sharing their own stories of breakthrough, their own testimonies of God's faithfulness. You'll discover that your struggle isn't unique, but your story is. And together, we form a tapestry of grace that declares to the world, God is still moving, God is still healing, God is still calling people by name. I want to ask you something, and I need you to really think about this. If God has indeed placed a divine message in your heart today, if you truly believe that your best days aren't behind you but ahead of you, what's the first step you're going to take when this video ends? Will you finally make that phone call? Will you start that ministry? Will you forgive that person? Will you believe that person in the mirror is worthy of God's best? Your answer to that question will determine whether this was just another video you watched or the moment everything changed. Before you go, I want to pray over you. Not from a distance, not as a stranger, but as someone who's been where you are. Someone who knows what it feels like to wonder if God still sees you. So, close your eyes and let these words wash over your spirit like warm oil on a wound that's been hurting too long. Father God, I come before your throne right now, carrying the heart of every person who has stayed with us through this message. Lord, you see them, not just their face looking at this screen, but their heart crying out for hope. You see the empty chair at their dinner table. You see the medical bills on their kitchen counter. You see the grandchildren who don't call anymore. You see it all, and you care about every detail. Right now, I speak breakthrough over their finances. I speak healing over their bodies. I speak restoration over their relationships. I speak purpose over their remaining years. Lord, they've been faithful in the wilderness. Now let them see the promised land. Give them the courage to take that first step. Give them the strength to believe again. Give them the peace that passes understanding, even in the storm. And Lord, let them feel your presence so powerfully in the next 24 hours that doubt has no choice but to flee. I pray for divine connections, that you would send the right people into their path at the right time. I pray for open doors that no man can shut. I pray for provision that comes from unexpected sources. And I pray for a testimony so powerful that their enemies will have to admit that you are still God. Cover them tonight with your peace. Let them sleep the sleep of the righteous. And when they wake up tomorrow, let them wake up knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are chosen, they are loved, and their story is far from over. In the mighty name of Jesus, we receive it all. Amen. Now, before you leave this sacred space we've created together, I want you to do something. In the comments below, just type "I receive it." That's it. Don't overthink it. Just declare it. Let this community know that you're stepping into your calling, and watch how your simple declaration encourages someone else to do the same. If this message touched your heart, if you felt God speaking directly to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe it's your sister who's been struggling since her divorce. Maybe it's your neighbor who just lost his job. Maybe it's that friend who thinks their life is over because they're 65. Share it not because I asked you to, but because love compels you to. Because somewhere out there is another chosen one who's one video away from their breakthrough, and you might be the vessel God uses to deliver it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell, not for me, but for your own spiritual growth. Because God is going to continue speaking through these messages, and you don't want to miss what He has to say next. Thank you for trusting me with this sacred hour of your life. Thank you for staying until the very end. Thank you for believing that your best days are still ahead of you. Now go, beloved. Go with the confidence of David facing Goliath. Go with the faith of Abraham leaving Ur. Go with the courage of Esther approaching the king. Your divine message has been delivered. Your divine destiny awaits. The scroll is unrolled. Your name is written. Don't let it disappear.